Hey there guys, welcome to our first Evolution of video featuring GTA. Well, technically it's our second one. We've done Diablo about a year and a half ago, but we hope you guys enjoy this new series. And if you do like this video and this type of content, please consider leaving a like, subscribe and share this one. That would really help us out. But yeah, we hope you guys enjoy. Let's get it. Now, over the course of 25 years, Grand Theft Auto has become one of the most iconic, influential video game series of all time. From humble beginnings, Rockstar's crown jewel has gone from a simple top-down action game into a massive, sprawling open-world blockbuster that has sold 165 million copies and earned $6 billion in total revenue with the latest release. With rumblings of a brand new GTA game undergoing steady development, it's worth taking a look back at the history of the series and the long road it's taken to video game industry dominance. Now, back in 1997, British development studio DMA Design, now Rockstar North, released the first ever Grand Theft Auto game. Created by David Jones and Mike Daly, the game was a top-down experience set in a large open world that could be explored freely in between missions. It originally began its existence with the title Race and Chase and had players taking control of a police unit that hunts down criminals. Playtests of this version of the game were less than positive, and the project shifted to focus on criminal acts and adopted the title Grand Theft Auto after the criminal act of stealing a car in the United States, which was a primary gameplay mechanic. Now, the series' relationship with controversy also started immediately as government bodies considered banning the game due to its violent content and freedom for you to do basically whatever you wanted. The game also took place across 3 cities that would become iconic later in the series: Liberty City, San Andreas, and Vice City. Alright, so a couple of years later, back in 1999, DMA Design developed and released the sequel to Grand Theft Auto, which was published by its future owner, Rockstar Games. Instead of the iconic GTA series, the title took place in Anywhere City, retro, futuristic place in an unspecified time period. Now, the carjacking crime gameplay remained largely the same, including the top-down perspective. Few improvements were implemented in the form of a save feature by expanding points at church locations, and a gang loyalty system that alters the missions you're able to take on throughout the game. Alright, so GTA 3 was the game that revolutionized the Grand Theft Auto series. Once again developed by DMA Design and co-developed and published by Rockstar Games, Grand Theft Auto 3 was a completely overhauled experience. Now in third-person perspective, players took on the role of Claude, a criminal left for dead who goes on a quest for revenge. Claude carves a path of death and destruction through Liberty City, which is completely rendered in 3D and freely explorable. The game received critical praise and was the best-selling game of 2001 with over 6 million copies sold in its first year. Not at all surprising, since GTA 3 is often credited with pioneering the concept of the modern open-world video game. And expanding upon the gameplay of Grand Theft Auto 3, the newly formed Rockstar North, credited after Rockstar Games' broad DMA Designs, released Grand Theft Auto Vice City back in 2002. The game threw players into the location of Vice City in the mid-80s. Inspired by media like Scarface and Miami Vice, GTA Vice City immerses you into that 80s setting with an incredible soundtrack, neon lights, and an all-star cast of Hollywood actors providing the voices for characters including Ray Liotta, rest in peace, Tom Sizemore, Burt Reynolds, rest in peace, and Louis Guzman. Grand Theft Auto Vice City was also the best-selling game for its year, with 1.4 million copies sold in its first 2 days in the market. Heading down quick. Now, with Grand Theft Auto being a massive success on all accounts, Rockstar Games decided to extend its dominance in the world of handheld consoles. Now, in 2004, Grand Theft Auto Advance was released for the Game Boy Advance. It was a top-down action game similar to the original 2 entries in the series. Now, 2005 saw the release of Grand Theft Auto Liberty Cities on the PSP, which was a more traditional open-world third-person action game. The following year, Grand Theft Auto Vice City Stories, the next entry in the short-lived Stories series that took the full GTA experience and squeezed it into a PSP. Vice City Stories was notable for including many new mechanics for the series, including racket management and an actual Phil Collins concert you could purchase a ticket to and view after helping him on a mission. The final handheld game for the moment was Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars on the DS, which was a top-down game with a unique art style. Chinatown Wars also made use of the DS's touchscreen and had novel mini-games and gameplay mechanics. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, towards the PS2 era, Rockstar North developed a GTA game that pushed the generation of consoles to the very limit. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas was the largest Grand Theft Auto game yet and took place across the entire state of San Andreas, which included 3 cities: Los Santos, San Fierro, and Las Venturas. Each of these cities was based on the real cities of Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Las Vegas. In addition to the absolutely massive open world, the game also featured deep RPG mechanics, including the ability to make the protagonist fat or skinny based on how much or how often he'd eat. Upon its release, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas sold a whopping 5.1 million copies in its first year, making it the best-selling game for that year, and continuing on the Grand Theft Auto tradition of blasting everything else out of the water. When Grand Theft Auto had to make its debut on the next generation of game consoles, the PS3 and Xbox 360, Rockstar North went all out. Developed on a budget of over $100 million, Grand Theft Auto 4 was a massive undertaking and one of the most expensive video games ever developed at the time. Sharper graphics, an intricate physics system, and a dark, gritty story that matched the other games for the time, this installment set the stage for where the series would be heading. Another indicator of Grand Theft Auto's future would be Grand Theft Auto 4's online multiplayer portion, which dropped up to 32 players in the game's open world with no restrictions and tons of interactivity. While previous Grand Theft Auto games have been massive successes, none of them come close to the absolutely colossal success of Grand Theft Auto 5. This sprawling open-world blockbuster follows 3 unique characters on the series of high-intensity bank heists. Each character can be switched to at will and will go about their lives as normal when the player is not in control of them. The game sold an incredible 11.21 million copies in 24 hours after its release, generating $815 million in revenue. Over time, Grand Theft Auto 5 has been re-released multiple times, being remastered for newer consoles. With all versions for the game considered, Grand Theft Auto 5 has generated an estimated $6 billion in revenue. This is before the wildly popular GTA Online portion is included, which has become an entity unto itself. GTA Online regularly receives new story expansions and content to this day, which is much in a way a typical MMO would. Alright, now with all the focus directed towards GTA 6's development, further to the remasters of GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption being scrapped, one thing is for sure: Rockstar seems to understand the massive task of needing to exceed players' expectations. It is also understood that GTA 6, further to Jason Schreier's piece back in April 2020, will be released as a moderately sized project. It is unclear, obviously, what this will mean for the initially released product, but we think the intent is to expand the game over time with updates. Now, rumors say that the game is set in Vice City with visits to Cuba and the new Carcer City, which is meant to be a stand-in for Chicago, while others mention Colombia and Miami, and could be with us as soon as 2023. Well, look, wherever the new GTA game ends up, we know it would undoubtedly be another success for Rockstar Games. Well guys, that's it for this evolution of GTA. Really hope you guys did enjoy this video. As always, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, if you did like this video, please consider smashing that like button, subscribe, and share this video. That would really help us out. But thank you so much for all the support lately. And until next time, see ya.